So we have been discussing this issue over the last 7 years. I don't know, but probably most of my sentiments talking to MCC definitely goes to United States, because this is a United States project. And in the past, both gentlemen here, ministers, Comrade Surendra Pandey said that United States is an imperialist country. That's what I learned, probably. But now, he is not bad. I mean, he's not talking something different. I also subscribe to his idea that yes, we have to work together with any country. Yes, we should. China is working with United States, so why should not we work? But the question is like, what you work with is a very, very important thing. So I'm not biased to anyone. I remember those days during the ratification, and our main concern was that this is not something legally to be ratified by the Parliament of Nepal. That was my contention. And a lot of others were there. We said it's a normal agreement which do not deserve to be ratified or discussed in the Parliament. But then, question is not whether we should work with Parliament, MCC or not. Question is whether this is an agreement needs to be ratified by the Parliament or not, that our leadership should be very clear. So, it is not necessary to go against MCC. It is also not necessary to support MCC, but question is like, what is that agreement? It's, we see in the agreement one very important thing. It supersedes the Nepalese legal system. And if you see our judgments of the court and our Law Interpretation Act, when we say law of Nepal, then Constitution is also a part of the law of Nepal. Then, if it goes above the law, that means it also contextually go against above the Constitution also. So what we demanded was like, let's clarify it. Have a debate in the Parliament. That's what we demanded. That was the demand actually. Dr. Khagendra was here, Dr. Sureraj Acharyaji was there, and myself. If all our leaders remember that time, we went from door to door to clarify certain things. And if this agreement is debated in the Parliament, make it open for every member to discuss. But then why discussion was not allowed? This is a question. So we have been talking about why discussion didn't take place. That very morning, I went to Speaker Agni Sapkotaji, and I said, please let this document be studied by the people, the member of the Parliament, and discussed in the Parliament. That's okay. If the whole Parliament become convinced and says that, okay, this is not against Nepalese national interest, fine. Still, I may have some opinion, but if the Parliament endorses the agreement, that's fine. But did we discuss? Do we say that that is what happened in the Parliament is a discussion? There is a question. So, there is no question that somebody is opposing MCC and somebody is opposing, supporting MCC. Content is one thing. We have to look into the contents. And then context is another thing. In the context, in 2002, when this project was established by George Bush Jr., and in his very seminal book, Noam Chomsky said, that came as a part of the United States foreign policy and security policy. So MCC what I say, this is a American security and the foreign policy document or the project or not. Or somebody else say, this is yes, that doesn't count. What counts is what the American experts say. So Noam Chomsky in his very famous book, Strategy for Survival, he writes, even if you read page number 5, you can read it, where what he says is like, this is a part of American security and foreign policy instrument. Okay, that's what. So it's not me what Noam Chomsky said. Then he also gives a very good information about MCC. What he writes is in his book is like, the then British Prime Minister Tony Blair called George Bush Jr. and said, let's use this fund, MCC project or MCC fund, to rescue of the debt trap the African countries have been suffering from. And then he said, according to Noam Chomsky, he said, if you agree with that, we also put money on the MCC fund. And then French and other. So they wanted, they actually recommended to make this fund as an international fund to rescue countries in debt trap in Africa. But George Bush declined it. Then it's not me, and it's not someone. Actually, nobody was debating about MCC in Nepal until Mr. Rand went to Vietnam, and he declared that MCC and projects given to Nepal is also part of the bigger security interest of America. It's not we said, it is Mr. Rand said. Then we became little bit conscious and little bit alert about it. And then you can see 2019 report of the State Department, where it is very clearly said that MCC is a part of the Indo-Pacific strategy. And then the same year there is a report came from the Defense Department, so many things. So question is like, it is not we made MCC controversial. It is American officials and report made MCC controversial, and we started asking questions. Is that true? If that's true, then our leaders should think about it. This is all. What is the debate? The question is that. So there is no question against or for, but national interest is vital. So that is what I think we should discuss is a debate, and we should do this debate. That's what my opinion. Regarding later part, then BRI was connected with it. Then definitely we should take assistance from United States. We should take assistance from China and Russia and other countries. That's fine. That is Nepal's national foreign policy guideline. We have to work together with it. But we should not forget what is the reality today. I often think, I'm a professor, a teacher, therefore my thinking is not like others. I do think in a different way. I project in my mind a tree, okay? And how it looks like is like the roots of this tree today after 90, 51, 70 years of period in Nepal. I am also getting very close to that age, and I'm going to die probably after some years, but I lived all my life in poverty, in an underdevelopment situation. Then why 70 years we didn't do it? Why in the past 70 years we didn't develop? The question is like, in 1951, we changed the regime. But changing regime, both Congress and Communist at that time thought that removing Rana is the objective of the revolution. They failed to look into economy. They failed to look into social structure. They change of the social structure. They failed to look into the poverty Nepalese people were living in. And then, only 10 years period of King Mahindra, you see some development projects, some industry, some production. No political party, no political force in Nepal paid attention to the rise of the productive process and the production. No, we didn't talk about it. We never talked about modernization of the agriculture, industrialization, and other. Few industries given by China. It's a seed industry. Where are they? Where are they today? Is that what new liberalism? If so, if a state completely comes out of the responsibility and comes out of the conscience to the people, then that neoliberalism is not necessary. Then, therefore, government should be responsible. That's what we have been talking about. So, what was the problem with trolley bus? What was the problem with Bigudi paper industry? What is the problem with Harisidi bricks industry? Where are they? Today, that Bigudi paper mill is still there, but it is not a property of the state, but it's a property of some individual. So why? So why we ignored the support given by China? Why we ignored support given by Russia? Why we ignored the support given by Germany? And why we give so much emphasis to MCC? So today we have 8,000 million US dollar debt on the soldiers of Nepalese people. 8,000 million US dollar count. Your calculator does not work. I did it and my calculator, my mobile didn't work it. And what is the ratio? 30% loan ratio goes to Asian Development Bank. How many industry did we create out of this 30% ADB loan? And then 50% loan, the ratio goes to Western countries, Asian World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and then Paris Club, Nordic Development Fund, and all these. So 30 and 50 out of 8,000 million US dollar loan goes to the West. And what is the stake India had? 2.10%. What is the stake of debt China has in Nepal? 1.9%, 90%, and Korea 2%, and rest of the Japan around 6%, OPEC and other. So whose debt today we are living with? So question, therefore, we are not challenging and we are not asking the question and debating questions today, but I am challenging the attitude of foreign addictions that we have in our mind. That nation cannot develop without foreign support. No, that's wrong. And MCC is a part of that. So what I say is like, if you really want to develop your country, work. Develop your agriculture, develop industry, develop your entrepreneurship, and then productivity. What productivity this MCC is going to bring to us? I don't know. I don't know. Leaders and the political leaders have to answer today. Is any productivity it's going to bring to us? 30% is in the social sector. So question is, MCC is also a part of foreign debt addiction. अर्थात विदेशी सहायताको दुर्व्यसन, विदेशी सहायता आएन भने देश बन्दैन भन्ने दुर्व्यसनले 2007 सालदेखि आजसम्म विदेशी सहायता खोज्दै $8,000 मिलियन विदेशी ऋण हाम्रो टाउकोमा छ। तर आज हाम्रा कृषि फार्महरू छैनन्, आज हाम्रो कागज कारखाना छैन, आज हाम्रा केही पनि छैन र मधेस जो उत्पादन हुने ठाउँ हो त्यो मधेस उत्पादन हुने ठाउँ यहाँहरूलाई म सिधै 1 मिनेट मधेस कस्तो छ हुलाक मार्ग त्यहाँभन्दा मास्तिरका खोला त्यहाँभन्दा मास्तिरको पानी जति जम्मै हुलाक मार्गले छेक्दिने अनि त्यहाँ त्यहाँभन्दा मास्तिर अर्को हाइवे नेपाल पूर्व पश्चिम हाइवे त्यहाँभन्दा मास्तिर अर्को त्यहाँभन्दा मास्तिर फेरि अर्को चुरेको फेदफेदबाट मदन भण्डारी हाइवे त्यहाँ पनि अनि 17% उत्पादन हुने टोटल जमिन चाहिँ पिचले छोप्ने अनि त्यसपछि एग्रिकल्चर छैन 15 खर्बको मागेर खाने चामल विदेशबाट ल्याउने जनता नागरिक बेच्ने रेमिटेन्स ल्याउने रेमिटेन्स ल्याएर कर बढाएर दाम बढाएर भान्सार लिने अनि कर लिने भ्याट लिने 1 लाखको स्कुटर आउँछ भान्सार पनि त्यहाँ जोड्दा 3 लाख हुन्छ अनि 3 लाखमा नागरिकलाई भ्याट ल्याउने सिस्टम यदि यही सिस्टम अब यहाँहरू कांग्रेस र कम्युनिस्टले देखेको देशको विकास हो भने प्रभु यहाँहरू मलाई चाहिएन तपाईहरु जे ल्याउनुहुन्छ ल्याउनुस् एमसीसी ल्याउनुहुन्छ कि के ल्याउनुहुन्छ Nepalese people want development, they want prosperity, they want productivity, they want industry, and that should be equal to all. So it is only the socialist oriented system that we have to go with. We cannot give all money to few people. Today 3% people have become so much rich and 90% people have been becoming poor. If I have to go to hospital, I will become poor. So therefore I say, I have very few money in my bank. So if I go to Bir hospital, I will not get time. If I go to Grandi, I will not survive. So people like me are getting poor. So therefore, probably I should also become a political leader because then I can use the estate property. This is where is the problem. So the addiction, foreign addiction brought MCC. Let many other issues that we will discuss tomorrow. So we have to start thinking in a different way. So it's not a question of opposing America or supporting China. Question is, should Nepal think first? Should Nepalese be considered first and then other? Or should we always think somebody else and we have to bake money in a golden ball? We have a gold, but we don't know it. Thank you very much.